Now we're gonna get rid of some of our barrels. Our big waters.
Yeah, that, she's integrated.
We're good?
Garage door.
Good. Yeah, this is. Yeah, and just hold that natural human energy. You need a teacher. And I love this. It's nice teachers like for. One thing, I don't know what you know. I'm like, if I'm gonna get into the down, just go on home, so it's how can you? Or what's so good.
So on my way home. Thank you. Partners in crime.
What?
Where's your partners in crime?
You and I.
Speaking with somebody to. Speaking. Students. Student teaching.
What do you represent?
And selected.
Yeah.
No, I told her it was best. I went outside, we had like 4 layers on it now. Went outside and said, "Mom." I guess I might 4 layers off.
It may change, but you know, we're done.
I had to stop my coat from blowing away along with my sweatshirt and everything else, so it's cool. It's cool.
The rain here today?
No rain,
No rain?
wind,
Oh.
wind.
It's pouring rain, it's not that big across. Good, that's good.
Couple ways.
Places that.
No, the worst
So.
The lake's just spread out. No, it's really unfortunate. Gotta put life jackets on our towers.
We
get ready?
Yeah. Once a year.
All right, it's 5:30. I will call this meeting in order of the Denver Community School District. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I will make note that we are streaming tonight and board member Wirtjes is appearing virtually. And Ryan, you can hear me okay, correct?
Yep, I can hear you fine.
All right, thank you. Consent items, you received the bills. Any questions for Becky on any of the bills? Any bills you want to pay? You want to ask about or pull? I'm sorry. Obviously, we want to pay the bills. Any bills you want to pull? No,
Make a motion to approve the bills presented.
Second. Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Declaration of conflict of interest. Does anyone have a conflict of interest they'd like to declare regarding any of our items on the agenda tonight?
No.
Hearing none, I'll move on. Public forum. This is the opportunity for the public to tell us what they want to tell us. I'd ask that you step up to the podium, state your name, and I'll be having Pat help me keep track of our 2-minute time limit for comments. And with that, I would welcome anyone to the podium.
Hi, Denise Downs. I just wanted to again invite you to a rock concert this time. So, first we do a community folk dance and now we're doing a rock concert. So in the house will be Michael Jackson, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Sia. Let's see, more Michael Jackson. I'm forgetting the other ones right now. So, yeah, if you have never been, so I would encourage you to come. The kids do a really nice job, learning how to play electric guitars, bass guitars, drum sets, keyboards, singing their own vocals. So, it's very comparable to what you would hear on the radio if you listen to them. So, good job. So, that is April 28th. It's a Tuesday, and that will start at 5:30. If you're not able to make the nighttime performance, we do have a matinee in the afternoon, at 1 o'clock. So.
Thank you. Anyone else like to tell us anything?
I'll go.
Good evening, my name is Justin Scott. In light of tonight's public hearing on the 2027 budget and the initial collective bargaining session at 7 p.m., which the public is encouraged to come observe, I want to present some concerning trends that our certified staff and district parents must be aware of. This board has offered years of lip service regarding their respect for our professional educators, but talks cheap. In school finance, truth isn't found in speeches, it's found on the ledger. The lines on this proposed budget reveal a massive values gap. According to your own public hearing notice, the budget for business and central administration on line 29 is effectively doubling, surging from 360,000 in 2025 to over 714,000 in this budget. You have found over $500,000 in new local money for administrative growth in just 2 fiscal years. While you are securing the front office with our local property taxes, you have abandoned our local commitment to our teachers. 2014, this district funded a much higher local base salary. Over the last decade, you have offloaded that responsibility, replacing local investment with state supplemental dollars instead of putting those state dollars on top of a strong base. By doing this, you have quietly chained nearly 1/3 of a Denver teacher salary to the whims of lawmakers in Des Moines. You have protected the administration's funding with our local taxes, but you've left our teachers completely exposed to a state legislature that is currently diverting hundreds of millions of dollars toward private school vouchers. Worse yet, the new July 1st flexibility laws will soon allow this district to flex unspent teacher funds into the general fund. By rolling over teacher earmark money year after year while veteran pay remains flat, you have essentially created a slush fund that is now legally vulnerable to be diverted into the very administrative expansion we see on line 29. In conclusion, this leads to one painful idea. This board doesn't have a funding problem, it has a priority problem. You found the money to double the business office, yet you tell our teachers, well, the well's dry. I will be submitting a summary of these damning trends for the official record during the budget hearing, and I look forward to the board's public justification for these numbers. Thank you.
Okay, Nancy, I just want to say, I've had a great sophomore season with all the sports between football, basketball, track, and wrestling. For football, it was amazing because we got to go to the first round of boys state, and then for the wrestling, I went to both boys and girls wrestling, and it was a great experience to see us come out as the #1 champions for the girls. And to see the boys come out as a great year. For the girls, track, I'm running the 100 and 200 this year. And I don't know what I'm gonna do without the girls on this team. They have been such a great sport to me and to the coaches, and I'm really gonna miss the seniors next year. And the coaches have been such a great role model to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michaela. Anybody else? Okay, thanks everyone very much. We'll move on. Old business. Discussion and possible action on liability insurance excess. I'll let Brad talk about this a little bit. I did talk with Brad about this today. In a nutshell, our insurance carrier is recommending that we purchase an additional $5 million in excess liability insurance, which will cost about $5,786.03. I have some questions about it. I'd like to have a good discussion about it. You know, in general, governmental entities such as school districts, there's lots of areas where you're exempt from liability, but there are things that you can be held liable for. Punitive damages are generally exempt. So I know that there was the carrier indicated that the reason for this was some recent claims against school districts. And they specifically identified that recent bus accident that was tragic. So I don't know, Brad, did you have, before we open this up to discussion, do you have other intel you want to give us that you found out today after you and I talked?
Yeah, not a whole lot different from what we talked about. I want to say we currently have a $5 million excess already built in. What we're deciding on is whether to add 10 million of excess or 15 million of excess. I've shared some numbers of the schools that are doing this. There's none that have decided not to have any excess. There's 103 that have opted for the 5 million excess, which
Is
is
where
what we
we're
did a year ago.
right now, right?
Yep, and then 146 are doing the 10 million excess. And only 73 are doing the 15 million excess.
And to be clear, it's basically, it's an umbrella access policy, so it's in addition to what we already have for coverage. Which is not a number, which is not a number I know off the top of my head.
5 million,
Okay,
in addition to.
in addition to the $5 million base.
Actually, 5, right?
Right,
Correct.
right, so you currently already pay for $10 million in coverage, so it's whether or not you want to have a total of 15 million in coverage.
Correct. And to add 10 million excess would be 5,000. Excuse me a second.
Yeah.
$5,786. To do 15 million would be
Would be the
4,000.
Yeah, it'd be the 57 plus another 4,400,
Yes.
so it's essentially another.
Over double.
Yeah, it's another 10 grand towards the premium. It's over double what we're currently paying. Questions?
Does this,
Thoughts?
is this per school year
Yes,
or fiscal year or?
yeah, it's the premium for the fiscal year.
Okay,
From July 1 to June 30.
okay.
Which would be upcoming July 1.
Correct.
So, and for clarification, so this is like not, this is like it. So if you have 10 students injured, this is this is what you have for 10. If you have 30 students injured, this is what you have for 30 students.
Correct.
Okay. And is that in that fiscal year or is this per incident?
It's ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'd be per.
I think it's per incident.
Okay.
I believe so.
Usually that's what those policies say, but I can't. After talking to Brad, where my head went was, I wouldn't mind the insurance person coming here and telling us why. Yeah, I would like to ask some hard questions about the why and because I mean, bad things have happened. They happen everywhere, but does their data suggest that judgment numbers are going up on cases that have gone to trial? Does their data suggest that claims are going up and there's no way to avoid it? You know, I'd like to hone in a little bit more on that. And I also wouldn't mind our board counsel telling us whether or not with the other districts she's representing, is she advising them to do this too?
I'd like a little bit more of a. Call it a personalized approach.
Yeah,
I mean, rather than being, I mean, these are nice numbers to have, but. Just because there's whatever, this math is 300 plus,
right, but we don't,
doesn't mean that's where we sit.
right,
Mhm.
we don't have to, we're not in a time crunch, right? We don't have to decide this tonight, so. I mean, I'd rather be more educated on it before I spend another $5,700 for $5 million in coverage that we might not need. Again, it's risk control, right? There's
Right.
never, there's no way to predict what could possibly happen. So you're hedging, you're leveraging your risk and you're trying to figure out what the best dollars are for that risk. So I'd like to hear from the experts on that in terms of whether or not they recommend it.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you
Yeah,
all?
I agree.
This.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Done within the next month or?
Oh, yeah, it
Get it
was too
lined up.
short notice. We talked about having them come tonight and.
It was too short notice.
Okay, so we can table this until
Totally.
May's meeting?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which was July 1st.
Okay. What date was May?
Just has to be, when's the?
When do we
date
have to-
Has to be done by.
I don't know. They asked when our next board meeting was, and I told them it was April 8th.
Yeah, so the main meeting would be the 13th, right? Yeah.
So we can find that stuff out between now and then.
Yeah, we'll table it to the next one and see if you can't get both those, see if you can't get the insurance person live and hear from Excel Group. And see if our board council can't lend us some information on that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, is that a motion to table with that directive to the superintendent?
So moved.
Second,
Any further conversation? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Right, next is our resolution authorizing the redemption of general obligation school bond series 2022 dated September 7th, 2022, approving a First Amendment to escrow agent agreement, levying the tax for fiscal year 2027 for redemption of GO bonds series 2022 dated September 7th, 2022. Brad, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. This is levying dollars that would essentially prepay some of our debt on our 2022 GO bond that we took out. It would, we would continue with the same tax rate that we had, but valuations haven't increased, so it generates a little bit more money. So doing this, approving this amendment, or excuse me, this resolution, would essentially save the district about $20,000 worth of interest.
Questions? I'll entertain the motion to approve that resolution.
Motion.
Again.
So this will be a roll call since it's a resolution.
Okay, Prendergast,
Aye.
Teely,
aye,
Geisler,
Aye.
Heller, Burgess.
Aye.
Okay, next we have our public hearing for our fiscal year 2027 budget. Correct? Before we approve it, so is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Before we open it to the public for comment, did you receive any written comments or emails? electronically?
Received and then for publication on file.
And then, Becky, do you want to, either you or Brad, want to just kind of give a high level summary of what we landed on with this budget?
Yeah, sure. Couple things, our tax rate is dropping from 16.4 to 15.99. We just approved the surplus levy, so that allows us to save interest in a few years when those bonds become callable. The increase in state aid is 2%. We've gone down slightly with our student enrollment, so that means our new money is $93,000. I think what else we talked about at our last meeting. Is there anything you would like to add to that, Becky? Did I miss anything?
We'll put that information that we presented on our website. We're working on that right now.
Okay.
At the public hearing that we presented last year,
Right.
or last month.
questions from the board on that, and then I'll open it up to the public.
So the decrease in 5 students, that's like that 82 or whatever, or 6,000 or something student, right? Or whatever that number is that we all share.
It's about
I
8,000.
can't, yeah, okay. It's a good chunk of money.
Anyone from the public for the public hearing? Again, I just ask that you look up to the podium, announce your name, and try and keep it to 2 minutes if you can, on the budget.
I'll go. Name is Justin Scott again. I'm here to formally address the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget. To submit a summary of findings for the official record. I direct the board's attention to line 29 of this budget. You are proposing to essentially double the cost of the business and central admin office, jumping from $360,000 to just 2 years ago to over $714,000. In total, you have found over $500,000 in new local property tax money to grow the front office in just 2 years. I anticipate the board will say this money isn't just for salaries, that it's for software or legal fees. But for the parents and teachers here, that doesn't matter. The fact is, you found an extra $354,000 for the front office bucket. Why wasn't that same effort made to find money in our classroom bucket? While the front office budget is exploding, our teachers' paychecks are actually shrinking in the real world. My citizen audit shows that when you factor in inflation, a 20-year veteran teacher in Denver can actually buy $10,000 less in groceries and housing today than they could 10 years ago. For the official record, I have 3 questions. Number 1 on priorities. How does this board justify a 98% increase in the business office budget while our veteran teachers have seen their actual buying power drop by $10,000? Number 2 on local responsibility. Why is none of the $544,000 in new local money being used to restore the local portion of teacher pay? It is unbelievable that a healthy district like Denver with a $20 million+ budget would force its teachers to accept that 1/3 of their salary appears to now be tied to the whims of Des Moines lawmakers who don't understand Denver, our families, or our school. Lastly, like I mentioned earlier, on the July 1st deadline, under a new law, the district will soon be allowed to flex money meant for teachers into the general fund. Will this board pledge tonight that you will not raid unspent teacher funds to pay for the administrative expansion we see on line 29? To vote for this budget while ignoring a double front office budget and the systemic erosion of teacher pay would be a direct dereliction of your responsibility to this community. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public regarding the budget? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Right, next is approval of our fiscal year 2027 budget. Any questions for Becky or Brad? Brad, anything you want to add in addition to what we already talked about?
So,
Jen, oh, sorry, Ryan, did you have something to say?
Nope, that wasn't me.
Okay. Finance committee worked with this correct? You guys worked with this with Becky, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, we spent quite a bit of time with Becky going through, what the numbers mean and really a lot of thanks to Becky for putting it together, not just looking at what it does for, fiscal year 2025, but looking towards numbers all the way out till 2031, really laying out what our UAB and solvency ratio and things look like as we put together the budget for this year, thinking about how, that impacts the upcoming years.
Any big topics that finance wants to highlight on the budget, just like things that you're seeing or that you're forecasting? Insurance is always a thing, right?
Yeah, the big killer on that management fund is insurance. That's not funding salaries and other things in the front office. That is insurance money, and those kind of bills that we're required to pay.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget.
I'll motion to approve.
Second,
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thanks, Finance Committee, very much. Thank you, Becky and Brad. It's been a task, so thank you. Discoveries renovation project updates.
Yeah, lots of activity going on down there. It's really neat to see our kids in action, and I was first a little skeptical about how Mr. Murch is gonna keep that many kids occupied at one time, but I've never gone down and seen 5 or 6 kids working and everybody else leaning up against the wall. Everybody has a job. They're helping each other out. They're very mindful of the safety issues. It's really a neat project to see, and it's neat to see the learning that they're doing. They took a saw and cut the cement underneath the floor of part of the library, part of the former family consumer science room, former English room. Got down to dirt that hasn't been exposed for several years. The plumber put the piping back in, they did whatever I guess else they did. And then put cement over top of that, and it's amazing the job that these kids have done with the part of the project that they're doing. So we just had some steel arrive a couple days ago, and they've been jumped in on the framing. They're framing out some of the restrooms in there now. Once again, these kids have really amazing skills that they know what they're doing, and it's impressive to watch. There's a change order in one of the bathrooms that we're looking at, trying to figure out the best way to proceed with that. But even some of these kids are in these discussions with Mr. Murch, and well, not really myself, but Brad Glazer is a part of that, and they're talking about load bearing walls and how you can tell what's a load bearing wall. And hearing the kids chime in, it's really a neat experience for our kids here in Denver. So so they're doing some framing right now. Pretty soon they're gonna be working on those exits and those doors. It's really neat to see the hard workers that we have and the things that they're learning as well. So that's all I have on that.
Brad, would you mind seeing if some of them would like to come to the next meeting and possibly?
Yeah, that was actually on the agenda until a couple days ago, and it didn't work out for a lot of their schedules. So yeah, we'd do that, and if you guys are available in the middle of the day, you should come and throw on a hard hat and go down and see these guys. It's really cool.
Have we heard back on any further resolution on that change in the bathroom? Have you gotten any?
No, that's what we're working on tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So that's not an action item, just an update, right?
Yep.
Okay. Last day of school for the 2025-26 school year. I'll let Brad explain the
Yeah.
hours and.
Yeah, so if we did not make up one, after, so I went and calculated all the time that we'd missed, the days off, the late starts, all that type of stuff. And we started with extra hours. And by the time you subtract all of those early outs, those dismissal days, we end up with 3.5 extra hours. That's cutting it a little too close for me, and hopefully for you guys as well. So I'm recommending that we're supposed to get out on the Thursday, the 28th, in the middle at 12:30 as a 12:30 dismissal. I'm recommending that we do that day as a full day. And then the Friday, the 29th, do that also as a full day. This will take that 3.5 hours up to around 11.5 extra hours, and that'll give us a little cushion in case we have a late snowstorm, electricity. Hey, we even had a windstorm about a month ago. So just so we have a little bit of extra built-in time for those, so we know we would end on that Friday, the 29th, at the end of the day, unless something major snowstorm happened. So other option that we looked at was was to come back that following week of June, the first and the second, so we go the Thursday, Friday, full days, and that first and second, that would total 24.5 extra hours. I'm just not convinced that that value of going into the days, and we have enough hours where we don't have to go into those June days. That's why I'm recommending May 28th, 29th as full days and being our last days.
And the 25th is Memorial Day, correct?
I believe so,
That
yeah.
would be the Monday of that week.
And we, in the past, we've run into soccer, but if I remember correct, that's
That
later.
is actually the second full week of June.
So we don't have to worry about that. Like
Correct.
years past, we've talked about dismissing and
Yeah.
whether we make it up or don't.
I'll admit, I struggled with this one a little bit, but that's because I like exceeding expectations on academic time. I like the fact that we have a calendar that is a little bit heavier on the academic time than other calendars. I don't apologize for that. So if you promise that you're gonna have kids in school for X number of hours and then you waive a bunch, I don't know. It impacts the credibility of why you did it to begin with. However, that being said, I also completely understand that the likelihood of a whole lot of instruction happening on Monday and Tuesday after, is not very high. So I understand that and can completely be convinced to be done in May and not have them go into June, if that's.
I would lean strongly to being done that full week of May and not returning.
Not returning.
And we're hopefully out of the snow, but we've
Yeah.
seen that happen
This,
before.
the only reason I hedged on it is because this is a little bit more waiver of time than what we've done in the past. However, we had a worse winter than we've also had in the past, so. And there's no specifics, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think we normally waive, I don't know, what would we
I
say?
think
We
we
normally
waive a couple
waiver
days in
between
that.
3 and 5. Yeah, we're normally waiving 3 to 5, and this is a little bit on the heftier end of what we typically would, but.
Yeah, making up the days for 4 days that are not being made up.
Yeah, so,
If we lose not even a single hour now to the end of the year, does that change, or this is what it is?
I think we just stick with what it is. The parents like to know ahead of time.
Yeah,
yeah,
Our staff needs to know ahead of time too, because, they're trying to plan out the
Right.
rest of the year and they've got different assessments that they're trying to complete and different units.
That
So
was
if
my-
we
that-
were to end, say, the first full week of May. Are we allowing the staff to fulfill all their
you mean
requirements?
First full week of
You mean
May.
June?
Last full week of May, so.
Yeah, I know what
You know what I mean.
Yeah. That was the question I asked him actually was, does the staff feel like they can achieve their academic goals if we end at the end of May? That was my question to him directly.
Yes,
The
according
guy
to our
answers yes.
principals and a handful of teachers that I talked to, yes.
I would lean heavily towards being done that Friday and not going to next week.
Okay.
I don't think there's
I
a
would-
whole lot of value added
I
in
agree.
that.
I agree with that also. I think when you go into June, the kids are done, right? I think
Yeah,
it's time to move on into summer if we can.
I get it. Is somebody making a motion then to approve?
I'll motion to go Thursday and Friday, the 28th and 29th.
Of May,
Correct.
okay. Just click.
I'll second
Yeah, the last week of May.
All right, any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right.
I did.
She seconded. Okay, next is PE waiver for cheer.
Yeah, so we've talked about this quite a bit and I think it's time to take action. Mr. Anderson cannot be here tonight, but he's certainly on board with this as well. That's recommending a PE waiver for cheer. It means they would not have to take PE if they're in cheerleading in the fall and in the winter, not just one season, but both seasons. And this is okay with the state as well. they would have to take an academic course instead of PE, so they can't just take it and do nothing else. But yeah, it's time to add this to the group. Our cheerleaders do a lot, and it definitely is physical activity that they're doing in cheerleading now.
They're busy folks. So,
Mhm.
Oh, I'll make a motion
okay,
to approve it.
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the relay agreement, which was formerly Timberline, and this is the company that helps us with our Medicaid dollar reimbursement.
Correct. For those services, they charge us 8% of the money, and that we would not get as much money if they were not helping us, so it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Questions, comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the Waterloo Career Center agreement.
Yeah, we had 3 students this past year that have taken classes through there. This agreement allows us, if it's a good fit, to have a kid do that. This year, I believe we had the student take some health and beauty coursework with them, and we had a student take a couple of auto mechanic type classes. So for a kid that's really specialized like that and is looking for specialized classes that know what they want to do, it's a good thing to offer to them.
Questions?
Will that center always be there once the new school is done?
Yeah, it's gonna have to be there in some.
Right, but at that campus?
Yeah,
So, okay.
yeah, I don't know their exact plans, but I
My
would think so,
understanding
because
is that it's in.
they put a lot of money into that center, so.
Have you been there?
Yep,
It's incredible.
all right,
It's incredible.
I love it, it's great.
The experience those kids are getting, wow.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with the Waterloo Career Center.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have approval of the 2026 graduates.
Yeah, this is a big one, because there's 2 people at this table that have graduates in that group, but I'll let you say your thing that you usually say, Heather, but this is whether we have children involved or not, this is one of the most important things that we do.
True. And it's a great day. So if you haven't already marked your calendars,
Mhm.
mark your calendars for graduation. It's a fantastic day. Questions? Nope. Okay. Somebody want to let these kids graduate?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Ryan, you want Chrissy to graduate?
I do. Jennifer might not.
Maybe your mom does not. Okay, sorry, I lost track. So you moved,
Yeah.
Ryan seconded. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, they gotta graduate pending a really big mistake, so let's assume they don't do that. All right, consent agenda, personnel matters.
We have some hires here, softball, Megan Brunchen as an assistant coach, Sammy Gerke as a high school assistant coach. Pitching coach, Maddie Stepanek. Bailey Nuss, middle school, and Sam Gerke also for middle school. How you can do that is middle school games happen in the middle of the day, so there's a different schedule there. Baseball coaches, Aiden Kelly as assistant baseball, and Lance Williamson. We still are looking for some middle school baseball coaches as well. Another one in the higher category is Amberly Habhab. And Amberly is a secondary art teacher that comes very highly recommended. She's been teaching in Cedar Falls. And she actually lives here in rural Denver, so very happy to have her. Then we have a resignation, Miranda Thurm from girls soccer assistant.
Alright. Thanks to those folks, and I would move to approve those.
A second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Alright,
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, so we're not hearing from Josh and Taylor because they're on their speaking tour tonight. So, Paul, I guess it's just you.
All right. I can just throw other things in there too. On April 22nd, once again, they're having their elementary STEM day in honor of Val Fry. Who was instrumental in setting up that whole program and so forth, and it's just a great day. For kids to extend their education outside the regular classroom, and we have some teachers that have taken some leads on that, and they work with the high school kids and middle school kids, robotics kids and so forth, and ask them to come down, and it's just a great day and a great way to pay tribute to her. Club 11 wrapped up this last month, and Stephanie Westendorf and Connie Adams did a great job providing students. This year they had a new monitor system that they used, which was pretty incredible. And the kids logged over 3,400 miles with that Club 11. So that's quite a great program, and it's really fun to see the energy that the kids display when they're participating in that, and excitement for that. A few things at the middle school level, middle school honor choir. We have 8 students that are going to be participating in an upcoming honor choir festival at Owine later this month. Middle school track numbers, boys and girls. In middle school girls, we have 37 participants, and middle school boys 29. And we want to thank those coaches, Coach Newbro and Miller, and then Miller and Miller are the place. So it happens to be Peyton Miller, who's our middle school science teacher, and a couple other content areas. And then Travis Miller is our STEM, secondary STEM teacher. And Lexi Miller is his daughter, and she serves as an as an associate paraeducator here in the district. So we thank those individuals for working with all those students, and look forward to seeing them compete here soon. One thing I just wanted to share with the board, and to share with the community also, is our at the secondary level, we do a climate and culture monthly activities and so forth. We have dress up days throughout one per month. And just some examples there. In September, we had an NFL Jersey Day. November, we had red, white, and blue in honor of Veterans Day. January, we had a college theme day. And March, before spring break, we kind of had a tropical and Hawaiian day. You and the public will not be able to see the picture, but you, the board, had the opportunity when we share these reports with them. Just pretty amazing the amount of kids that participate in the staff, and it really is just a great bonding activity. Also, we celebrate staff birthdays on a monthly basis, and we kind of do a rotational thing. We have it set up, and you can get as creative as you want to honor those people that are celebrating their birthday that month. And of course, people bring pretty good treats. And so staff always appreciate that one day that we get to celebrate our coworkers and so forth. Once again, last month I talked about the Think Fast interactive assembly that we were having sponsored by Iowa DOT. And I wish that all you guys could see the picture, but wow, that was a pretty incredible assembly, and the kids had a blast with it. The picture that I did post there were the 4 finalists. We started with everyone participating, and we had dance-offs, we had all kinds of promotions and games, and all the kids had electronic gadgets, and they were in teams, and so that's how they determined who the 4 finalists were. And it was just the hour went by so fast because the 2 guys that were directing it just did an outstanding job, and a lot of kids left with a smile on their face. And also it was just a great way for them to learn about safety as far as being a future driver, riding bicycles currently, walking, and just it just kept on throwing in just little things to think about. And it was a well-designed program. So I'm so glad that I pursued that. It was free of charge, and it was well worth it, and I'd do it again. They have different programs, so I'm hoping that someone picks up some sponsorship and does it, because they do have other things that we can look at. So just some things from Mr. Anderson on as far as from the high school perspective here. Spring sports and activities are in full session. He wanted to give a shout out to Nikki Score and senior Ava Dunn for leading the play during the March 28th and 29th at the high school level. We had several middle school students also participate in that, and those that attended it really enjoyed the performance. On April 1st, there were 50 high school students that were recognized in this year's Cyclone Achievement Club. And again, celebrate those students who excel in academics, community service, leadership, character, and punctuality. And when I used to be the high school principal too, and you always had that kind of that challenge of who's that person that you're going to get to speak to, these high school students and motivate them for their future. This year, last month, this is Lori resigned, but her husband works for the ag industry, and Taylor invited him to speak. And I was not at the event that night or anything, but the students that I talked to and some of the parents that were present along with Mr. Anderson said that Chip did an outstanding job. It was just amazing. He talked about his life story and the chances he took and what he pursued and didn't give up on his dreams and so forth, and got him to where he is today. And he really connected, I can't remember all the names, but he connected with some real leaders in the ag industry, and just kept on coming back to them, and really has been instrumental to a lot of people here. And he has his own radio, TV show sometime, and it's pretty amazing. So just a great mindset to always be perseverance, and a mindset to pursue and to inspire others. So it was just great. Then some upcoming activities. On April 18th, we have prom, and kind of show the schedule there. Senior awards night, May 17th. Seniors' last day is May 19th. They really didn't care what day you gave. They get to pop into the old established calendar and so forth. And there's a 10-day thing in there. So it all worked out good for them. And then, of course, on May 24th is graduation at 2 p.m. And we kind of talked about this last month, but ISAP assessments are going to start full next week. We're going to go to elementary and secondary. So thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just have a few things here. First of all, Josh and Taylor are on the speaking docket. They were asked by University of Northern Iowa to speak to the teachers that are student teaching. And in that thread, I would also say they certainly would have benefited from Paul speaking as well. I just want to say we're very lucky to have our team of administrators, and I probably should say this when they're all here, but they're probably listening to this when they get a chance anyway. But yeah, we're just very lucky to have the team that we have here that are working with our kids. We're speaking at UNI. You don't see it, and maybe some of you do see it, the amount that these people care for our kids here is second to none. Also, May is school board appreciation, so that's coming up. We've got a month to prepare for that, to get ready. This is a very solid board. They ask good questions when I bring issues to them or bring situations to them. Do a great job. You saw it tonight, asking great questions and figuring out the best way to proceed with situations. And our staff as well. This is a time where it starts to warm up, and kids maybe get a little bit more frisky, but our staff is right there, and they care just as much for our kids as anyone else does as well. Cyclone Achievement Club, Paul really talked about that, but yeah, our kids are amazing. They do great things. And Chip Flory is the farmers in my family. They know of him too, so he's very well known in that community. Just two more quick things. Disney trip happened over spring break, and I want to thank all those people that chaperoned that, went on it. I was not able to go. I heard that the performances were outstanding. I know the kids, at least one of them was really tired when they came back. And a special shout out to Scott Krebsbach for all the work he puts in to make sure that goes right. And last thing I want to say this really quickly, good job earlier, Michaela. I don't know if anybody saw, she did not have any notes. You couldn't see that, but and the track team will miss you too, so but you're not going anywhere. It's a great job without notes. That's impressive. That's all I
Thanks,
have.
Brad. Yeah, I just, after a little bit of what Brad said, I want to thank the kids and the parents and the coordinators on the Disney trip. It is a yeoman's job to take over 100 kids in buses and organize tickets and rides and meals and the stuff on the buses. I don't, the pictures, if I could share with you, I should have prepared the pictures of just the totes and bags of things that went on the buses. What just absolutely blew my mind. This is not a trip that happens overnight. This is a trip that it literally takes 4 years to plan the next one. So thanks to the Krebs Box for all their work. Thanks to the chaperones. Thanks to Disney for accommodating us. Again, thanks to the kids for doing as well as they did in everything they did. And what I would add to that is that I had an acquaintance that approached me actually the week they came back, happens to be a retired police officer. And he said, aren't you involved in Denver schools? And I said, as a matter of fact, I am. And he said, well, I just want to let you know, I actually drove the bus of your kids from St. Louis back to home when they came back from Disney. And they were amazing. They were well behaved. They picked up the bus at the end. They picked up all the garbage. They made sure it was clean. They handled the baggage. He said, I don't have college kids that even get bags out of the buses. He's like, I drive kids to sporting events in college and we drive there and those college kids don't get their bags off of the bus. So kudos to those parents and those kids for their behavior. It absolutely warms my heart to have just random people come up to me and tell me how great the kids were. So thanks to them. That was a big deal. Before I forget, are all board members available for graduation on May 24th?
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Put it on your calendar so that we're all present. And
I'll be there.
okay. Hey, good, Ryan. I was kind of counting on you. I was hoping that was a thing. All right, I think that's everything I got. Anybody else for the good of the group?
I got a couple notes, but, we heard it, but the spring activities are off to full swing. Correct me if I have this wrong, but I believe our 4x8 boys currently have the fastest time of any team of any class right now, which is quite amazing.
Yeah.
So kudos to them and best of luck as they move forward.
I think they broke their own record.
Like twice or three.
Twice or three times, you know?
Yeah, hitting the blue standard for Drake is a big deal. That's an amazing feat for them to do, especially this early in April. That's an amazing time.
Good for them.
And then believe the nationals for archery is in May, is that right? I have that correct. So best of luck to that team as well. That's all I have.
And rugby did well. Sounds like they played out 2 pretty hard games. Good job to them.
Anything else? Nothing? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all.